Last Sunday, the season of Epiphany means a transfiguration story. In Mark's Gospel, Jesus takes Peter and James and John up on a high mountain by themselves. And Jesus is transfigured before them. His clothes became dazzling white, such as no one on earth could bleach them. In other words, this is a God-powered moment. It is not a natural occurrence. And in the midst of this dazzling display, Jesus is seen with Moses and Elijah, the law and the prophets, the very important elements of Judaism, right there, Jesus on an equal footing with them. And in the midst of their talking, Peter finds his voice and says, "Rabbi, it's good for us to be here. Let us make 3 dwellings, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." And the text then says he did not know what to say, for they were terrified. Now, I find this really interesting, and I want to focus on this in part by comparing it to the other story of this lectionary, and that is from 2 Kings, where Elijah, who is the great prophet, is about to end his time on earth and go up in a whirlwind to heaven. And everybody knows this is coming, especially his successor, Elisha. And Elisha keeps insisting that he is going to walk the final leg of this journey with Elijah. And does so, and right before it happens, Elijah says to his protege, "Is there anything I can do for you?" And he says, "Give me a double share of your spirit," which he ultimately gets as he sees Elijah go up in a whirlwind in a fired chariot. Now, back to Peter and James and John, who also see what's happening to Jesus, but they react a little bit differently. Peter's insistence on making booths is a way to control the moment and also to try and hold on to the power in it all. Let's make this the memorial place. We'll put the booths there, and then we'll man it, and we will make sure that it's seen as the great holy place going forward. And this type of response to me is all about holding on to power. These are his successors, and they want to make sure that this is all controlled. And maybe it's the week with impeachment and with the events at the Washington National Cathedral, but there is this desire to make sure that power is held onto rather than using power to make better, to enhance ministry. I mean, Jesus' ministry is not on the top of the mountain. It's back with everyone, proclaiming the message of the kingdom of God. And that is ultimately what the disciples are called into. But they would rather stick to the safety of a specific moment as the holy moment. And that moment can be ultimately managed and controlled by them. Now, thankfully, this idea is rejected, both by Mark, the gospel writer, who says he did not know what to say, he being Peter, for they were terrified. So this suggestion comes out of fear. And that also speaks to me with the day, that so often our approach to power that seeks to hold on to it and to control it is fear-based. And then comes this cloud, And from the cloud comes a voice, "This is my Son, the beloved. Listen to him." And that is worth remembering, that in all of this, we are to listen and focus on the teachings of Jesus, rather than be obsessed with claiming who Jesus is in this godly, religious sort of sense. Jesus constantly focuses our attention on the kingdom of God being right there for us to experience. And the way we experience it is by caring for one another, loving neighbor as self. So on this final Sunday in the season of Epiphany, that's what I keep coming back to. How do we use our power, not in a way to maintain it or to make sure that we can control it, but that we can actually share it for the benefit of all? Thanks be to God.